All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Toast Time. As always, I am joined by my co-host Jackson Law and our wonderful producer Courtney. First, we'll start with Jackson. Jackson, how are you doing?
Doing great, man. Just trying to survive like everybody else. Middle of the week, ready for the weekend.
Yep. Yep. Courtney, how's it going over there?
I'm ready for the weekend too. Like
Yeah.
that sounds
everybody's
great right now.
everybody's just
Real.
waiting for the weekend. I'm waiting. I got my second COVID vaccine shot in next week. So
Nice.
that should be fun because I have to go to work after that. So
Ah,
I'm really hoping I don't have a reaction, but who knows? I've heard many things from many people.
yeah,
It's kind of just
yeah.
50
I'm
shot.
I'm low on the totem pole, so I'm probably not getting mine for another couple months at least.
Yeah. Yeah, luckily I was able to get it. So we'll see what happens. But hey, at least I'll be vaccinated. I'll deal with it. It won't be the worst thing I've ever dealt with. I'll tell you that. All right. So we will roll right into it. And my first buttery pick, I'm sure, I think, no, I know damn well. Everybody knows who the hell my buttery pick is for this week. I might not even have to say it, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. It's the New York Football Giants. Yeah, that's for damn sure. Kenny Galladay signed. Adoree Jackson
Jackson,
signed.
yeah, I was about to say.
Leonard Williams signed. It's just been one hell of a free agency. It's been such a good free agency that Dave Gettleman has moved off of my thin ice. He has moved off of my infamous thin ice, and he's now onto a little bit of thicker ice, but he's still on ice. Don't worry, he's not completely out of the water yet. He's still on ice nonetheless. But I got to give him credit. We got Kenny Galladay, the guy I wanted. We needed a number one receiver desperately. We've been struggling without a number one ever since OBJ left. And when you have a young quarterback like Daniel Jones, it's kind of tough for them to really do much without a number one. I mean, Deshaun Watson had a lot of success, much in part due to having DeAndre Hopkins, who is arguably best wide receiver in the league, and depending on no matter who you talk to, he's easily top three. So that helped him out tremendously with his growth. And I bet if you asked him, he would be saying the same exact thing. So we needed a number one, got a number one. Then there was some other guys still out there. Adoree Jackson, Stu's still out there. And basically after the Kenny Galladay signing, I kind of like put that in the back burner of my mind. I wasn't even thinking about it. The next thing I know, Adoree Jackson had meetings booked with the Giants and the Eagles. Goes to MetLife Stadium, leaves MetLife Stadium with the signed contract, and then told the Eagles, I cancel. I'm signing with the Giants. I love it. It was actually funny because I seen that he was basically getting recruited there by both Logan Ryan, who played with him in Tennessee, and by John Ross. And John Ross basically told him in the offseason, he was like, yo, come to New York. And he goes, I didn't know which New York he was talking about. And then I seen where he signed, and he was like, oh, okay, that New York. All right, I'll give them a visit. So hey, listen, I like the recruiting by the players, and listen, the Giants are set up here to have a very good season. Can't tell you the last time I've had expectations this high for the Giants in
Mhm.
quite some time. Now, what that means is they probably will let me down because, however, at least I can gloat until the season actually starts, and then reality is probably going to smack me in the face that Daniel Jones isn't that good. But we will see. He's finally got a good cast around him. The offensive line is still a little shaky. If they can get that somewhat rightened up right before the season, who knows what could happen. All I know is this is Daniel Jones' do or die year. So he's got his best of chance as he'll ever have in the NFL to succeed. So I better take it. All I know is this week the New York Giants made me very, 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 very happy.
Yeah, no, the Kenny Galladay signing was huge. That was a guy that I was rooting for Miami to try to pull for Tua. They ended up getting Will Fuller, which is good. They got him on a 1-year deal, and it's a tryout deal, and the cap went down anyway. So there's a ton of 1-year deals this free agency because everyone's like, cap went down. There's no the top of the cream of the very top of free agents got picked up that first week for that really in the first 24 hours for bigger contracts. So a lot of 1-year deals. So I'm cool with that. And yeah, it's great. You guys got your wide receiver 1, and I love the signing. I love the Adoree Jackson signing too. I think a lot of people aren't talking about that enough. And then re-upping Leonard Williams. There some good off-season moves, and I agree with you when you said that they're definitely moving in the right direction. They have a chance, man, because you're in, again, it's a dead horse and I'm going to keep beating it, but arguably the worst division in NFL, in all of football, you're in that division. So just being in that division means you got a chance. On paper, it should be the Cowboys running away with it, but Mike McCarthy's still the head coach, so that's not going to happen. And Dak Prescott was putting up big numbers, but guess what? They were losing before he got injured last year. So, and then of course, the Eagles don't know what they're doing. They're going to screw things up. Howie Roseman, don't trust them at all.
Yeah.
And then Washington is probably the only other team that is on a similar trajectory that the Giants are on, but they don't have a quarterback. The Giants with Daniel Jones, there's still questions there, and I don't know if Daniel Jones can be the guy. But if he can just kind of essentially do what Eli did, where he just kind of manages the game, doesn't make mistakes, and makes a good throw when you need a good throw, then you don't really need him to be anything else, because Eli Manning won you 2 Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a great defense behind him, and he had weapons, and he had an offensive line, and he had a running back. And you're slowly starting to build those things around them. And in the draft, there's a lot of ways that they could go. I've seen a lot of mock drafts having Waddle from Alabama going to you guys. So you'd have
I love that
wide receiver core. So yeah, or even I've seen a couple where I don't know if he'll fall this far because he's just that good, but Patrick Surtain also, cornerback out of Alabama, I think would be a great pick. Or if there's an offensive lineman that falls to that spot, I don't think Penei Sewell falls that low. I think the furthest he falls is to the Bengals, and they're 6th, I think. I can't remember. But there's a lot of options that fifth, maybe they are fifth. Maybe they are fifth, because I think it's Dolphins and then the Falcons and then the Bengals. Yep. I think you're right. Yeah. Six is the Eagles, I think. I want to say 6th is the Eagles, maybe. But either way, there's a lot of upside to this season. So yeah, you've got reason to, be happy and have expectations, but then also remember that with expectations comes the, comes the downfall if they don't fulfill those expectations.
Yep.
So my Buttery pick, I'm throwing it to the NCAA tournament, and I mean, it's one of the greatest Cinderella stories of our time. It's Oral Roberts.
Yeah, it's pretty
man.
Awesome.
Dave, a 15 seed getting to the Sweet 16, that just doesn't happen every day. And beating 2 teams like Florida and Ohio State to get there, that's crazy. Ohio State, I had going to the Elite 8. There's a lot of people that had Ohio State making it to the Final Four, making it out of the Southern Division and getting to the Final Four. That's how good this Ohio State team was. They were hot coming into the tournament, winning the Big Ten tournament, and they played a great game and ended up winning it. Now, of course, they're playing my Razorbacks next, so obviously, I think my Razorbacks can pull it off, because this isn't the first time. I believe it or not, this is not the first time they have faced off this year. Early in the season, Arkansas is one of the few teams to have a non-conference schedule, and Oral Roberts was on that schedule, and Arkansas, and this was way in the beginning of the season before Arkansas got their footing, they beat Oral Roberts. Now, Oral Roberts is hot, but so is Arkansas too. You know,
Yeah.
there's no non-hot team coming into this point in the tournament. When you start getting Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4, that's where you start getting into, you know, obviously those teams are there because they're beating good teams and they're on hot streaks. So I don't know how much further their Cinderella story goes. But this is the second toothpaste team that Arkansas has had to play. They played Colgate, and now they're playing Oral-B Roberts here. But they've just played phenomenally, and it's been really fun. I was able to catch both of their games, and they were great games.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, Oral Roberts, probably Cinderella of the year, just because of the fact of they beat two big name programs, back to back, which most Cinderella teams, like we all know, they win that first game, they pull off the upset, they'll pull off the upset, and then the round of 32, they get their boots smoked like completely.
Mhm.
And Oral Roberts in the game against Florida, which is probably was more impressive to me over the Ohio State game, was because in that Florida game, they were down early by like 10 or 12. They were down like it was real quick. They were down 12 early. Most 15 seeds, you see go down 12 early in a game. Oh, they fold
It's
and
over.
they are left for dead. But Oral Roberts fought back, won the game. They've been doing great. They did exactly what you want. What you need for your lower seeded team to beat the higher seeded team. That's make the other team play your game. You push the tempo. You make them play your style of ball. And that's exactly what Oral Roberts has been doing. So, I think it'll be a nice game against Arkansas, but I'm telling you right now, I like your Razorbacks. I like your Razorbacks a lot, for reasons other than just sports wise, money wise. I bet on them the other day and they pulled it out for me with the +2 against Texas Tech. Don't really know how they were an underdog against Texas Tech. I'm sorry, but I seen that number and had to jump on it. I'm like, there's no way Arkansas should be an underdog at Texas Tech. But anyway, I think Arkansas is gonna come away with this game against Oral Roberts. I feel like I just feel like Arkansas is just one of those teams where the Cinderella story ends here. However, another Cinderella team I will just briefly touch on real quick, Loyola Chicago. Let me tell you, Loyola Chicago, they are without a doubt evolved themselves from a Cinderella team. Straight evolved themselves from Cinderella team at this point. This is going to lead right into my burnt toast. My burnt toast is Illinois basketball. Now, let me tell you something. I had them going to the national championship game. I haven't looked at my brackets since that game. I haven't looked at my brackets since Sunday. I'm like, this is done. I'm like, oh, this is over. It wasn't even like it was a close game. Loyola Chicago hit like clutch shots down the stretch. They got blown out by a 8 seed, by a mid-major 8 seed, and they were one of the best teams in the country. They were, I believe, the third best 1 seed based on like BPI and rankings. They got absolutely obliterated by Loyola Chicago. That big man with the mustache and nothing else going, that big white dude in the middle, he was causing problems for Cockburn. Cockburn couldn't get it going. I can't really pronounce the point guard's name, but I think Osuma. And that kid, great talent. He will be an NBA player one day, but this game, his childhood friend, really took it to him. They were playing defense on Illinois. Like, I don't think Illinois has seen defense like that before because they couldn't do anything. They were completely out of their offense, completely out of rhythm. And for a team as good as they are and as talented as they are, it's actually crazy to think that Loyola Chicago did this to them. But we also should be looking at it this way. Loyola Chicago at this point, they're no longer Cinderellas. How many times are we going to watch them just march on to the Final Four, upsetting teams left and right? Like, it doesn't matter who they got on that team. They find these kids with a ton of heart and Jesus on their side, and they just run through the tournament.
Unstoppable.
Hey, listen, The major conference's worst nightmares is small time Catholic schools with Jesus on their side.
and a immortal nun. It's their good luck charm.
Immortal. Yeah, no. Listen, let me tell you, God is with her because she ain't going nowhere. I feel like she's
getting sainted 100%.
100%.
She's getting canonized like 50 years from now. Just watch.
Without a doubt. Well, yeah, 100%. Illinois is my burnt toast this week, and Loyola Chicago is 100% the reason for it. They toasted them to a crisp. I was just embarrassed that game wasn't even close. I came home from the gym, turned it on, and I was like, wow, this is embarrassing. They were talking about it before the game. Like Illinois, I believe they weren't held to under 70 points in a game since like the beginning of January. I think they barely hit 50. Okay. They got smoked. Listen, Illinois burnt toast. Try again next year, guys, because this 100% was not your year.
Oh, I agree. And it's not just like my pick also includes Illinois, but not just Illinois. It's all of Big Ten basketball.
Oh my God, what a bad weekend they had. Woo.
They have fallen flat on their face this past week. Like Michigan, I still think I have no confidence in Michigan whatsoever. I thought LSU was going to pull it out. It looked like they were for a little bit there, but Michigan ends up coming back and taking the dub. But I don't see them doing it. They're still down one of their key players. They're vulnerable. But Illinois bounced. Iowa bounced. Purdue bounced. Ohio State bounced. Wisconsin bounced. Rutgers was terrible. Just Big Ten basketball they did not show up. They had so many teams in the tournament, so many high seeds in this tournament, and they just blew it. They sold. There's no other way to put it. They came in with all this hype, all of this championship aspirations, where people were having like 2 or 3 Big Ten teams because of them being scattered about the divisions of making it to the Final Four. And it looks like really the only one that's left is Michigan. And I don't think they make it past the Elite Eight, if they even get to the Elite Eight.
Yeah. Listen, I see Michigan as that team that is damn good, but they just don't have it. Like you just know that they are not going to win the title. Like they'll make a decent run, but they won't win the title. Although I will say this, Juwan, I absolutely love Juwan Howard as a coach. I think he's a great coach for that school. I think he's honestly exactly what they needed. I'd say this is probably Michigan's best chances to make it to the championship game. Although I believe from what I looked at it after this weekend, they're gonna have to run through the ringer. So it ain't gonna be an easy road for them. I'll tell you that. But we will move into my extra crispy pick. And listen, I have to put them in my extra crispy pick this week because it's not very often that you can put them in an extra crispy pick. But let me tell you, the Vegas bookmakers are extra crispy because I swear almost everybody that I've talked to that like really bets on games, and I'm talking like guys that literally bet every single night. I mean, and this is me included. Last weekend, college basketball killed it. Absolutely raked it in. Like there was cigar picks all over the place. Or I got guys telling me, or they got the Oregon. They had Oregon money line going. Like the other night, I had Michigan. I had a nice little parlay going. Michigan with the spread. Alabama by 6 and the over. Those games were just easy money. It was like Vegas bookmakers were just, I don't know. They just could not. I feel like they couldn't get a feel for these games either. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
They were trying to like account for the upset, but like sometimes the upset just didn't happen with some of these teams. And I feel like everyone really took advantage of it because I know a lot of guys like one guy I know who is basically made a career out of pro gambling. He was something crazy like 7 for 7 on Sunday of the round of 32. He's
Jeez.
like 15-3 overall in the tournament. It's like going crazy. Hell, even me, who almost never catches fire in basketball, I'm 3-0 on parlays this week. That's never happened in my life. I'll tell you that right now. Never happened before. And then another guy I know is killing it too. It's like, I don't know, man. Vegas bookmakers, they've been getting killed this week. But listen, I know it ain't gonna happen for much longer, so I'm gonna enjoy this while it lasts because I know they're gonna get me back at some point. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Too bad the Barstool guys didn't go with the same picks that you and your buds did, because apparently they were losing money bad. They were down bad. I don't know if you saw any of their stuff, but
they are
but
yeah. I'm sorry. I just don't think they pick very good games, but that's just me.
no, they don't. But no, yeah. I mean, sounds like a lot of people are getting some pretty good easy picks. And yeah, usually those are the guys. They're usually really good. They get it right. They make it to where you really have to think hard to get it. But if so many people are just, laying fat stacks down and they're winning at this rate, then the online gambling sites or the physical casinos, then they're getting hurt big time.
Yeah.
This week then. And that's never good.
I think I see.
Well,
I think I
it's
see
good for. It's not good for the casinos.
Yeah, no. Which I don't really care less about the casinos.
Yeah, I know. They're super rich.
I think I see one guy on Twitter cashed. Oh wow, cashed like a $400 bet turned it into 50 G's. Off like some ridiculous, like it was like a 16 parlay or something.
I saw it was only like a 4 or 5 parlay, but it was like $25, but it was like some player, I can't remember, but it was like from Philly, and it hit. It was like
the tie bull
yeah,
it was for him to have 15 points or more in Philly.
Yeah, and he got 16. He got 16. He went like 6 from 6 from the field.
Yeah, exactly.
And
the guy over. He averages like less than 10 points a game too.
Yeah. Yeah, and then won that guy like 45,000 or something like that. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was crazy numbers. All right, so my extra crispy. Speaking of the NBA, I'm keeping it with the Boston Celtics. I thought about putting them as my soggy, but I just can't. It's just what is going on with Boston right now, man. They simply
than the Knicks.
I know, and they can't get anything together this season. And a lot of it has to deal with injuries, but even when guys are coming back, they're not the same. They can't shake off the rust. They can't shake off whatever is happening, whatever is going on. Like they played my Grizzlies last night or the night before, and they ended up losing in overtime, but they were down Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker, which Kemba Walker is kind of like a side note now. And they're in these trade rumors for like Harrison Barnes. Like, is that really the kind of guy that's gonna like, solidify that core or anything? And as much as I love Jason Tatum, I honestly do. I enjoy watching the guy play, and I think he's gonna be a star for many years. And I love Jaylen Brown too, but it's just like they're not there yet. They're not taking that step, and it's like they haven't taken the team as a whole hasn't taken that step, but the rest of the NBA is starting to catch up with them. Because like you said, the New York Knicks, led by Julius Randle, are killing it right now. This is a Boston Celtics team that has made 3 Eastern Conference championships since 2017, and they're in danger. Well, they're in the East, so they're never always in danger. They're never out of the playoffs, even with a below sub 500 record. But still, it's not looking good for them. And it leaves me scratching my head. It's like they had some good win, like a good 4-game win streak against the Pacers, the Wizards, the Clippers, and the Raptors. But 3 of those 4 games are against teams that are garbage. Or the Pacers are so they're always a dark horse. Clippers was a good win. Wizards and Raptors, but then they've lost to the Jazz, the Cavaliers, the Kings. They beat the Magic, but the Magic's the Magic. Then they lost to the Grizzlies, and then tonight they play the Bucks. Tatum is healthy again, but when you go back down their schedule, it is littered in red, and it's more red than green. Losses and wins. Yeah. It's disappointing. Like I said, I almost made them my soggy. I got a different pick for my soggy, but they're my extra crispy. And Danny Ainge needs to be under the microscope now. I'm not saying he should be on the hot seat yet, but he's got to be looked more closely than when he has been in the past, because he pulled off some magnificent trades to get some pieces around on this team, but yet somehow they are going backwards instead of going forwards.
Yeah, I don't understand really what the Celtics' problem is. Well, actually, I do kind of understand. They have no big man. They're big. They're trotting out Tristan Thompson almost every night. I'm a big believer in the big man. Like, yeah, maybe you want him to shoot 1 or 2 threes a game. That's fine, but you still need a rim protector. You still need an anchor on defense, and they don't have that. Like for a while before they even acquired Tristan Thompson, it was Daniel Tice was their starting center. Daniel Tice is not going to cut it for you to be anything more than like a 7 or 8 seed. And the thing that blows my mind, like I understand Marcus Smart was hurt for a while, and he like honestly is really the heart and soul of that team. Obviously, he's not the most talented, but he gives the most hustle. He plays the best defense, and he really is a leader on that team when he's playing the point. Now, Jason Tatum, I'm sorry, like I like Jason Tatum, Duke guy, I'm a Duke fan, so I even though he's a Celtic, I still like the kid. He went from going head to head with LeBron, blow for blow in that conference finals his rookie year, when they played the Cavs.
Dunked on him too.
Posterized
LeBron. Like, how many rookies walk into the league and posterize LeBron?
Posterize LeBron James in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, come on now. Like, I'm sorry, but at this point, like, we're now in 2021. He was a rookie in 2017. By now, you should be not. I'm not saying you got to be a mega superstar. You don't got to be Kevin Durant. You don't got to be LeBron. You don't got to be AD. But you got to at least be like, like maybe Steph Curry in like 2015 or 2014. Like, you got to be like almost there. It's like Jason Tatum is kind of like stayed at the same level of like, he's like knocking on the door of superstar, but he's not a superstar. And then at the same time, Jaylen Brown, it's like Jaylen Brown explodes for like a couple games, and then all of a sudden you don't hear anything about him for weeks. And it's like, I don't understand exactly what's happening with them. Like, they have the talent. They really do. They're just not putting it together. And it seems strange with a team that, for the most part, outside of losing Gordon Hayward, they pretty much have all the same pieces that they had last year. And the year, you know what I mean? Like, they still have that core together. So how is the chemistry like not there?
Yeah.
That's what I'm not understanding.
To prove my point even more, it is now halftime in their game against the Milwaukee Bucks.
What are they down?
15? They have their full roster. They are down 70-59 at half.
I could have predicted
to the Bucks.
Yeah,
to the Bucks. Chris Middleton is going off, by the way. The man's got 15 points at half. But I can't believe it. And it's like they've got their full squad tonight. They got everybody.
Yeah, that's what
all their stars are healthy.
That's what's even worse. You got your full squad, and you're still not even putting up you're not even putting up a fight, because we all know what's going to happen second half. Second half is going to come. Giannis is going to come out storming. It's going to grow to a 25point lead quick, and the Celtics are
this is why Trey is becoming the hockey guy.
Yeah, because
the Celtics they cannot figure it out.
Oh man. Yeah, listen, I don't blame him. And I'll give a little side note. The Lakers better do something because if we don't have LeBron James and Anthony Davis for a while, listen, we suck
that's gonna be tough.
suck without them. We need one of them back. Like we straight are garbage without LeBron or Anthony Davis. We just got like 20 piece by the Pelicans last night without either one of them. Okay, we need one of them. If not, and if they're not going to come back within like a 2-week period, we need to. I'm sorry, we need to get like Kyle Lowry or somebody. Like
yeah. No. They're projecting like LeBron could miss like up to 15 games.
15 games? Okay, yeah, no, Lakers, do me a favor. I don't care who you got to trade. Go get Kyle Lowry. At least let him let Kyle Lowry keep us afloat for a little bit because, like, listen, the West is very competitive. We need to at least have home court advantage in the first round. I'll tell you that. But I will. That will be that. That may or may not be a toast time segment next week. Okay, if the Lakers lose like 7 games in a row, I'm gonna be crying for help. Like, please help my team. Please help my team. Somebody do something. Donate.
Just start getting donate lower and lower.
I will donate my ankle to LeBron, and I will donate my knee to Anthony Davis. Like, please take my body parts. Go play. I need you to play. So my soggy pick. We're gonna head back to football. My soggy pick this week is the New York Jets. Now, the reason the New York Jets are soggy pick this week is because who exactly have they signed in free agency? They had more cap space than the Giants. They actually have more cap space than I think a lot of teams in the NFL. They were one of the teams that were heavily talked about signing most of these free agents was because they had the most cap space. They had draft capital for trades. They had a lot of, like, I get if you want to hold on to the draft picks and not really like go all in on something, stupid. Like, I know they were trying to get Deshaun Watson, and I know if Russell Wilson was made available, they would have tried to do something with that. But I know they were really, probably trying to get Deshaun Watson if that was the case. But nevertheless, they've signed almost absolutely nobody. Their team is like really not that much improved. I don't really know what they're doing. Like, their best signing was probably Corey Davis. I mean, the Giants were over the cap going into the offseason. Magically, we worked the books around. And like you said, Jackson, last week, the cap is just a fictional thing. It doesn't really exist because whatever we did, we ended up being able to re-sign Leonard Williams, then sign Kenny Golladay, then sign Adoree Jackson. And we gave Kenny Golladay a lot of money. So I don't know how we were able to work all this in, but apparently we were able to do it somehow, some way. So for the Jets to really not get like anybody notable is kind of like it's a disappointment because like this whole offseason was about this is Joe Douglas's first offseason. He's got cap space, like he's ready to grow, like he's going to turn his team around, and like he hasn't really signed anybody. Like, I get if you want to build through the draft, but like I mean, there was guys on the market that the market was low for wide receivers. I mean, at least try to do something. Like, I don't know if they talked to Will Fuller and he just didn't sign with them, but like, I mean, that should have been something that you could have. If Will Fuller took a 1-year deal, you could have done better than. I mean, you could have gave him something a little better than that. Surely, you got to give Sam Darnold some help if you were going to keep him. Listen, Jets were definitely just soggy toast for me this free agency because I really expected them to do a lot more. It was funny because I didn't expect the Giants to do that much this free agency. I really thought we were just going to hope and pray for the draft, but turned out the shoe was on the other foot, and we were the ones who ended up with a whole bunch of cap space because I don't know. I guess Gettleman just waved the magic wand and the cap space cap disappeared. So cap disappeared. Okay, let's just sign whoever the hell we want. But yeah, Jets are definitely soggy toast, and sorry to the Jet fans that are here at Vendetta. Mostly I'm thinking about Adam. Sorry guys, but you are it ain't looking too bright.
Yeah, I mean, they did okay-ish. Like Carl Lawson, Corey Davis.
Like Carl Lawson was a good signing. Corey Davis was a good signing. But the problem is
they paid a lot. They paid a lot for him.
They paid a lot for guys that really
they gave $30 million guaranteed for Lawson.
Wow,
on a 3-year deal.
God, I don't like that.
and who he had, which I say only 5.5 sacks, but if you're paying a guy $30 million to kind of be the cornerstone of your defensive line, you hope for a few more than 5.5 sacks. You know, you would love for that to maybe get into the double digits if you're paying a guy guaranteed that much money. But I mean, it was never a great job to become the GM of the Jets. It's almost like not even a team that I would touch in Madden, because it would just be so frustrating trying to rebuild this team. And like I just honestly wouldn't know what to do. So, and yeah, I mean, there's not much they could have done. I think what they did do, they may have overpaid a little bit, and it's just kind of it's kind of a desperation thing. They don't, because I don't even think they really have a plan. I think they're kind of making it up as they go. Of course, I have no idea, but
well, that would be the thing.
Yeah, it's like right here. It's like they spent $75 million in guaranteed money in free agency, and it's like they're still probably going to finish last in the AFC East. Like there's no way that
it's a thing of like, not that you're spending money. Like I know, like it's like they knew that the fans wanted them to spend money, but they spent it really stupidly. You can go look at what the Giants did and how they spent money smartly, and then what the Jets did. And
you're not doing anything like as good of a receiver as Corey Davis is. He's not your wide receiver one. You're not going to win with Corey Davis
He's not
as your wide receiver one. You're not winning with Carl Lawson as your anchor, as your lead pass rusher. You know, so but they're paying them like they are in that tier.
Exactly.
Not the top of the top, but like you're in that tier. You're close to like a wide receiver one, or you're a top pass rusher, but they're simply not that. Kudos to them for getting the bag, though. Again, I'll never blame a player for signing a stupid contract. I've never.
No, it's not their fault.
No. Just like
the 30 mil guaranteed in front of me. I'm signing it. I don't care if I suck. Like, all right.
Yeah. In the contract, 30 million guaranteed. That's what matters.
That's all that matters to me.
All right. So for my soggy toast pick, we're hopping back over to the NBA, and it's just kind of the NBA landscape in general. We are less than 24 hours away from the NBA trade deadline, and it is crickets.
Yeah.
Nothing has been announced. It's like, I'm sure tonight, because like usually when it gets close to the trade deadline, like in the NFL and the NBA, you've got the top guys that break news. So you got Woj for the NBA, you got Chef, Rappaport for the NFL. You know, those guys, like, they're up all night. Like, those guys don't see their families. They don't see at night. They sit in front of a camera with like their 5 or 6 phones talking to GMs and agents all night, trying to keep everything straight so they can get the latest information. And obviously they're still probably doing that, because there's no doubt in my mind that talks are intensifying and we will see some trades happen. But even like the names, they're just kind of you know? It's like, I don't think that there's going to be a trade made that will ultimately shift the balance of power, because you have the world beaters that are the Nets right now, because once KD finally gets healthy, I mean, that's going to be the team that's going to give the Lakers the most trouble. I still think it's going to be Nets and Lakers in the finals. Even if LeBron is down with an injury, I think that only helps LeBron, because LeBron will get time off. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, we've seen LeBron do it in the past before, like with Cleveland, where he takes it a little easy and falls like they're not the number 1 seed. They may be like a 3, a 4, a 5 seed. Then they kick it up in the playoffs, because that's when it really matters. And that's the environment that's been bred now. But like Victor Oladipo possibly going to the Knicks, like the Knicks aren't going to be doing anything. They may make some noise and they may have a run, but I don't remember that you hang banners up for making playoff runs. You hang banners up for championships. And then it's like, the Knicks are also in talks for like Lonzo Ball. That could be like a potentially big deal, but it's only a big deal because it's Lonzo Ball. It's not a big deal because Lonzo Ball is a good play, necessarily a good point guard. It's because of who he is and the name and everything. Pacers looking to maybe move Malcolm Brogdon, Miles Turner. Nets are interested in Andre Drummond, JaVale McGee, stuff like that. But it's like Drummond's probably not going to get traded. He's probably going to get bought out. The buyout market is honestly the most interesting thing because the teams that have it, the teams that have a chance to win a title, they don't have the capital to trade. Like I know, like Woj even was talking about today, and you mentioned earlier about the Lakers trading for Kyle Lowry. I just don't know if the Lakers will have necessarily anything super enticing unless you give away a couple of young pieces, which you don't really have much. You don't really have.
Heard, if the Lakers want pretty much almost like any better player, THT is got to be within the deal. And honestly, we already don't have many young players as it is. And I really like THT, and I think he can be something special.
Like it would have to be him and Schroeder and whatever picks you could scrounge around.
Yeah,
and that's how Lowry gets going. And like that would be kind of a big deal. But it's like even things like Aaron Gordon possibly going to like the Trailblazers or the Celtics. It's like Aaron Gordon. He is now what Blake Griffin was, a decade ago, and Blake Griffin finally dunked.
Dogging was
now that he's with the Nets.
Dogging it.
I mean, we all knew he was. We all knew he was. He was doing the same thing that Harden was doing it with Houston.
Yep.
Harden.
The only thing is Harden wasn't even trying, and he was getting like 25 and 14 a night. Blake Griffin was running around the 3-point line, jacking up threes. Like, what are you doing? And they just, oh god, that was.
The only one that I personally am keeping an eye on in this trade is the Norman Powell situation, because I love Norman Powell and I'd love for him to come to Memphis. Honestly, I would love for him to do that. And Memphis has been in a lot of rumors, and it is because, and I agree, they have too much young talent. You wouldn't think that would be a problem, but it is because they have about 13 guys that can serve rotational minutes on an NBA roster, and they're still down one of their biggest pieces in Jaren Jackson Jr. And already there's guys that are deserving of NBA minutes that sometimes sit because as a rest type of night. So they're a DNP at the end of the day. And it's like again, it's players that are worthy of NBA minutes. So I'd be more than willing to ship off Dylan Brooks, Grayson Allen, and a pick to get Norman Powell. I would consider that fair. I would take that in a heartbeat. But that's like the only one that I'm paying attention to. Malcolm Brogdon is interesting. Miles Turner would be interesting depending on if he goes anywhere. But at the end of the day, it's all rumors, and I'm sure it'll heat up tomorrow. 3 p.m. Eastern is the deadline. But it's just another year where the buyout market is more interesting than the trade market.
Yeah. Like normally around this time, we would start hearing at least grumblings of stuff. It's like not even really grumblings. Like we've only really heard about like guys that are possibly available. We don't even know if they really are yet, but they possibly are available. Like Kyle Lowry, I know he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. The only thing is he really available? Like, are the Raptors really going to trade Kyle Lowry? We don't really know that. Are they really going to trade Norman Powell? We don't really know. We know that there's talks and we know that they're intensifying, but every time I hear talks intensifying, it still takes like weeks and days. And with the trade deadline, it's probably going to take until about what's the deadline? I think 4 p.m. Eastern or 3 p.m.
Yeah, it's 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow.
3 p.m. Eastern.
We're recording this on a Wednesday, so Thursday tomorrow. Yeah,
we won't hear really anything. We won't see much being done until about 2:45 Eastern time. From 2:45 to 3, and then for like the next hour after that when they have
Yeah,
like the
'cause-
players that like just got in there and they're
Yeah,
like
they
just
like they
working
got
through
in like
them.
5 minutes. They got into the league office like 5 minutes before the deadline
Yeah.
happened. So the paperwork is still being, because as long as it gets in, like it could get in like 20 seconds before that
Doesn't matter
deadline.
as long as it
But
got
as
in their office.
long as it got to the office in that time, they still got to process it and make the trade complete.
Yeah, honestly, it's probably it's one of the most boring trade markets I've seen in a while, to be honest. So who knows? But I will definitely be keeping my eye on whatever the Lakers do because Lord knows we need help. Okay, we need help right now. We need sister Jean on our side. You think she could play? You think she could play the three?
I'm just gonna say she's like have her blessed like a Lakers jersey, or give her like 20 minutes in there with LeBron and AD, and they'll come out like healed.
They'll come out like Fountain of Youth. LeBron will be
bro.
will be like 6 years younger.
Yeah. Quick tangent, real quick. I don't know if did you see her prayer where she was like dropping a scouting report?
Yeah.
Like, dude, that was hilarious. I love the idea of that. That's just so funny. It's like, God, please let us win. Here's the reason why they struggle from hitting the corner three. So and they play a soft zone. We shoot 60% for where the soft zone is at. Let all those shots go in. I just thought it was funny.
It's so great.
I love her so much. It's gonna be a sad day in sports when she passes, or should I say if, because again, she's never going to die.
If she does, it's only going to be like a day after Loyola Chicago wins the tournament.
Yeah, it's like her time on Earth is done. Yep, finally,
she's done what she needed to do.
She can move on.
So still on the topic of the NBA, NCAA, excuse me. My toast of the week this week. Now, this is one of the most ridiculous stories I've heard. I heard this on the radio today. So the NCAA, as everybody knows, is probably one of the most corrupt and just downright unfair to their players league we got. It really is. So hear this one. Up in Syracuse, there's a donut shop called Glazed and Confused, I believe. Yes, Glazed and Confused is a donut shop. They were doing a special promotion. Great name, by the way. They were doing a special promotion for Syracuse going to the Sweet 16, where they were selling Buddy Boeheim donuts, and it was like it had like an edible picture of Buddy Boeheim on them, and I believe 50% of the proceeds are going to like a local like Boys and Girls Club. The NCAA caught wind of this and sent them a cease and desist order because they own Buddy Boeheim's name as long as he is playing college basketball. They cannot, nobody other than the NCAA can use the player's name other than them. Now, I did hear that there's they could loophole it and they could do Jim Boeheim, but at the same time, it just is good for it was already good for Buddy, and it was doing a good cause. And the NCAA, of course, being the freaking tyrants that they got to be, it's all just throwing the whole free tuition or free scholarship in everyone's faces, and just going and this donut shop can't run a promotion to give half the proceeds to charity because we are money hungry and want all the money we get. It's honestly just the most ridiculous thing in the world, and this stuff is. Stuff like this is the reason why we didn't have NCAA football for so long and only just now are getting it back, because now the states are starting to go against the NCAA, like California, and I think it's Florida or another state.
Florida. Yeah, Florida. I saw Florida.
Florida they are giving the players their rights to their likeness and image. They can profit off of it. And they basically told the NCAA, you are being overruled because this is ridiculous. You got these kids that are, honestly, there's a lot of these kids that are worth a lot more money than their scholarship. And for most of them, I'll give you an example. Okay. Buddy Boeheim I know they live in New York. Jim Boeheim, the Boeheims, I know they live in New York. They most likely live up near Syracuse. I know that for a fact. Okay. In-state tuition is really not that bad compared to other schools. If you go out of state, yes, I know it can get pretty expensive. Just in this one particular case, Jim Boeheim can afford for Buddy Boeheim to go to Syracuse for 4 years and not for it to hurt his wallets. Okay.
Yeah.
The dude makes plenty of money being head coach of Syracuse. All right. I really don't think that they give a rat's ass about this scholarship that you just throw into all these players' faces. I mean, how in the world could you really sit there and be like, we just give you a free scholarship, which is maybe worth on average $100,000, but we can go and take the excess of 500 to like $3 million that 500 grand to $3 million that you are probably actually worth. And we can go and take all that money from you. And like, you can't have any of it. It's ridiculous, actually. I know back in the day, they used to like basketball players, football players, whatever, like NCAA athletes. They couldn't even be a pizza delivery boy. They couldn't make a single dollar like at all if you were playing under scholarship. I'm sorry, but how are you going to pay for anything? Like what?
Yeah, and it's like there's even like
stupid
weird areas underneath those guidelines where it's like a dude could like I could be a student athlete, and you and I could be like going out somewhere like to a McDonald's, and I forgot my wallet, and it's like, dude,
if I pay for you, you can get suspended.
Yeah, it's like can you spot me $10 for this meal? I'll pay you back. Like, sure, yeah. The NCAA catches wind of that, then it's like, you're fined and then I'm suspended. It's crazy talk. And we had a great discussion last night on the Tandemonium Sports Show about it. So if you're watching this, go watch the Tandemonium Sports Show after you get done here. You viewer, also you can go watch it too, Anthony. It's a great episode. But you, the viewer, go also watch that episode of the Tandemonium Sports Show if you haven't watched it yet. But that was one of the main topics we talked about. And just in general, how terrible the NCAA is. And it's just, every day we are constantly reminded how terrible, how awful, and how little they care about their athletes. They only care about their bottom line. And another easy way to see that, it was the discrepancies between the men and women's workout rooms, between the men and women's NCAA tournaments. It's just like in their minds, they're thinking no one's going to care about the women's tournament. So why should we put any money into it? Everyone's only going to be paying attention to the men's tournament. All they care about is just the bottom line. They don't care at all. And I'm happy that states are finally starting to fight back and overrule this. And I've thought about it, technically even the federal government could be able to probably step in if a case ever got to the federal level about that, because they accept federal money. These institutions do. They accept state and they accept federal money. So, if it gets to the federal level, then if there's a case that reaches up to the federal level, then these colleges, these universities take federal money. So it could be possible for the federal government to step in and overrule. But I'm happy that the states are doing it now. And it's not just the states too. You got to give props to some universities when they do something that, believe it or not, they do something that's pro players. Notre Dame, I know there's a couple of other universities that have told that are doing this, but Notre Dame is the one that I remember off the top of my head. They told EA that EA cannot use the likeness or anything of Notre Dame University, the name, the uniforms, like the traditions and whatnot. They can't use any of that in their next game unless the players get a cut of some sort. Like the players get paid that are from Notre Dame. And like I said, there's maybe 2 or 3 other universities that are also doing that. Can't remember them. But I'm all for it, man. Why not? Why can't they? Why can't they? And there was the hashtag not NCAA property that was trending as the tournament was starting. You even had the dude from Michigan was wearing a T-shirt with that on it. And why shouldn't they be able to earn money off their likeness? If I'm the owner of like a pizza shop, a pizza restaurant, and there's a big time local athlete at the university, and if I'm that big time athlete and I'm approached by the pizza shop and they're like, listen, for the upcoming football season, we want to use your name and your image in ads for our restaurant. It's like, we'll put like, a picture of you up in the restaurant, like in like TV deals and everything, maybe even have you say something on a commercial or for TV or the radio, and we'll give you like $4,000 for it. And we'll sign a contract, it's straight up. And if I want that $4,000 to sell my name, image, and likeness for just the one football season, so in one fall, you get $4,000 for doing nothing, just lending out your name. They should be able to do that because anyone else can do that. The athletes of the NCAA are literally the only people in the United States that cannot make money off of themselves and off their skill, which thankfully, at least for basketball players now, basketball is such a popular sport worldwide. They can just go overseas and get paid and play and then come back to the NBA. Or now the NBA is opening up to the G League. So now you don't even have to go overseas. You just go play in the G League for a year and then you're eligible for the draft. So at least for the NBA players and basketball players, that's an option. But football players, they're stuck. Baseball players are still stuck. And then, of course, athletes, everywhere else, like Olympic athletes, they've got to wait because for being professional athletes and everything, getting paid sponsorships. If they want to get sponsorships for being an Olympian, they can't do that while they're at college. But, if I'm on a music scholarship to a university and I go join a band and we have, a top Billboard's Hot 100 is the top 10 in the country, and then we take a tour of the country, I get to keep all the proceeds, even though I'm on scholarship to a university. But a basketball player, can't even, take a pair of sneakers. He can't get paid $10 for mowing a lawn.
Yeah, it's actually like ridiculous, like what they do. And I just seen Courtney said that she was manager of the women's basketball team at her school, and even she had guidelines and restrictions.
That's crazy.
Manager, like that's just ridiculous.
Like the amount of control that the NCAA wants to have, and it's because they know that it'll all crumble down if athletes start getting paid. Like their way, like their world and how they control it, their wealth, it all goes away once athletes actually start getting paid. And the arguments are so stupid too, because
they really
I saw one.
No, like honestly,
I've seen one. The one that I always hear too, because they're moving away from like all the other like older ones where it's like, oh, well, they're getting paid anyway to do, go here and stuff like that, for with their scholarships. Now it's like, well, people are arguing, well, now that's going to cause like a discrepancy where it's like only the rich schools, the schools where there's lots of money, that's where kids are going to go to. Newsflash, that's literally what they do. Nick Saban doesn't have to, like Nick Saban in his pitch, he's like, look at the rings I got, man. You want one? Come play for me. You want to go to the NFL? Go look at the first round of the draft. 32 guys are taking it. 15 of them play for me.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Like, I think he says like every year he's like every year we have about 30 or 40 seniors get drafted in the NFL.
Yeah, the pitch, like someone recorded the pitch that he was like talking to a kid, and he's like, we've been to the college football playoff for 6 years straight. We've won a title, almost like every other year. And he's like, it's like, if you want to play in the NFL, it's like, you're never going to play better competition than what you're going to get at practice at Alabama and stuff like that. So it's like, if I'm being recruited by Nick Saban and he's like, he wants to offer me a full ride to Alabama to play football, I'm going to be like, well, that must mean I'm pretty good at football. Yeah, I'm gonna go play. I'm gonna go play for Nick Saban. I'm gonna win, 2 or 3 national titles, make a name for myself, and then go get drafted in the first round. I'm not going to little Kentucky, or I'm not gonna go to Georgia, or I'm not gonna go to anywhere else in the country.
You have to be a real special talent to be highly sought after in another school if you don't go to Alabama. You got to be like a Lamar Jackson type, or, you got to be one of those guys, because it's not very often, most of the time you go to Alabama. Like, why don't you look at this year? First round, there's Surtain, Devonta Smith, Waddle, even rumbling Mac Jones. You already got 4 guys right there from Alabama that could potentially be first-round picks. That's already 4 guys on one team. I mean, come on. No other team is like that, maybe except Clemson. Clemson's like starting to be like that. But Alabama, I think, is still got. I think Alabama still got that though.
100%. So all right, so I forgot we're to me now. For my toast of the week, it's nothing sports related. I just felt really bad for this guy. But Ben 10 was trending on Twitter today, and it's because there was a guy that was in like
Mark 10 or whatever his name is.
Well, I don't know what his name is. It's just there was a video. There's a video of a dude. He's got like everyone's talking about like this dude in like Big Ten drip or in the Ben 10 drip. Yeah, and he's like proposes to his girl at like a mall or something, and she just straight up says no, denies him, walks away. Dude's just heartbroken, and thankfully he had some of the boys there. They're like dapping him up, they're hugging him. Obviously he's heartbroken, man. I felt so bad for him, dude. Like I couldn't help that. And like obviously the internet's making fun of him because the dude literally has a green jacket with the tin up here, and he has a massive watch, and it's just like a normal watch, but it literally looks like the wrist thing that Ben 10 has. He slaps it and changes into whatever alien he wants to. So like, yeah, like it's funny, but like I just felt bad for the guy because, I mean, that's this woman walking away. He loved her. She rejected him. And then you could see him go through like all the stages of rejection, like instantly on his face, and his boys are just trying to help him. So kudos to the boys. That's why you got to have boys, always be there to pick you up, or, just friends in general. I don't want to, because like, girls got to have their girls too, stuff like that. They got to have someone to fall back on, but he's got his boys. I think Big Ben 10 will bounce back. But again, toast of the week is that guy. And it's a sad toast. It's a sad crying toast that's sitting in a dark room, and there's like a light thunderstorm outside, some rain hitting the window.
Oh man, it's like that guy. It's like they're sitting there. He's got that. He's sitting in his room. He's got that classic rock song playing in the back of his head. Where he's like, "Is there anybody out there?" or they got Simon. He's got Simon and Garfunkel playing in his ear.
Oh man!
Staring outside at the rain.
Poor Ben 10, man.
The sound of silence going on. Oh god, I love it. Oh, that's. Hey, well, I love that. It's not that funny. I've seen some. I saw that today. Feel bad for the kid. I just thought it was actually a little funny though, because like you did see him go. You see him go from like shock to, it was like shock, denial, sad. It was like all in a 10 second video. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it's still trending on Twitter. I got it up here. It's just Ben 10 is still trending on Twitter.
It's so hard to take it really seriously because he's wearing the Ben 10 fit. Like he's got the jacket, the omelet like tricks on.
Marriage is temporary. Ben 10 drip is forever.
Ben 10 drip is forever.
I
love the internet,
man. So sad,
but kind of funny at the same time. I love the jokes. I just like when videos happen. I just love scrolling through the thread on Twitter. I always make myself laugh. Twitter threads are some of the funniest parts. Oh man, that's great. Well, it is time for our predictions. Now, I don't know about you, Jackson, but I know I gotta go with a March Madness prediction just because.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just because. Even though my prediction from a couple weeks ago was kind of, Honestly, that Duke prediction I had, that was straight crap because a walk-on got COVID and they couldn't play the ACC tournament, which they were hot. I literally was watching this team get hot just to crush my dreams, be like, they got COVID, they're out of the tournament. I'm like, great. Like this was their freaking shot, and screw COVID. Okay, I'm tired of this. Go get the freaking vaccine. Give these kids the vaccine. Unbelievable. But anyway, we're gonna go with the red hot, or should I say the orange hot, Syracuse Orange. I think are going to be. I'm gonna say they're definitely going to the Elite Eight. I'll even be crazy enough to say they'll go to the Final Four. Buddy Boeheim is putting on almost a Steph Curry-esque performance in this tournament. Now, it's there is a difference though. Is he going to be a Steph Curry performance, or is he going to be a Kemba Walker performance? That's the difference. Now, I don't know, but Buddy Boeheim's got it like Kemba did that year. But Buddy Boeheim is balling. So you know what? Listen, I got to give it to the hot hand. I think Hughes is at least going to the Elite Eight. Maybe they even shock everybody and get to the Final Four. I wouldn't be surprised, though. I'll tell you, I really wouldn't be surprised. So that's my prediction for this week.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it seems like our predictions have a conflict of interest because I'm rolling with the not so much a Cinderella anymore. Loyola College is going to make it to the Final Four.
Oh.
They are hot. That man in the middle with the stash looking like the big dude from you ever watch that movie Super Troopers? Yeah. That's what he looks like. Get that man a liter of cola.
Oh, you go.
Well, that on the back of that man, Loyola College will make it to the Final Four, where I think they will face off against Baylor. I still like Baylor to win it all, but good Lord, are they going to put up a fight? And I'm going to be rooting for them the whole way.
Hey, listen, it's hard to bet against Jesus. I'll tell you that.
It is, man. See, that's where I'm throwing my hat in.
Listen, they took what would Jesus do to a whole new level. And hey, listen, I like it. Listen, all I know is it's gonna be a fun rest of the way. I will say one thing. Thank the Lord that we got March Madness back.
Oh yeah,
boy, did I miss it.
Such a good tournament.
I missed it so much last year. And this tournament just made me realize like how much I actually did miss it. Like I didn't really get to like sit there and sulk on it because I was like absolutely crazy working at a small grocery store or butcher shop and just getting slammed with people that were like going nuts. So I didn't even have time to think about it. Because I just finished I also was in the middle of doing like my capstone for my school, my college, and it was my senior year. And it was just like my brain was everywhere. But now I get to see how much I really did miss it, and it's great.
Oh no, I'll never take sports for granted again.
Yeah,
never.
No, not at all, not at all. I love it. Happy that it's back. And actually, real quick, the Lakers, I believe they said the Lakers are getting the COVID vaccine. So we might have players getting vaccines real soon to the point where, I mean, all the leagues might just get vaccinated. And, well, at that point, there's going to be no more game cancellations because everyone's vaccinated. Can't get COVID anymore. Or, you know, if they stay safe enough, they won't get COVID anymore. Who knows? But anyway, that'll do it for us. Everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe as always to the video. Also, come check us out. Follow us on Twitter. Courtney will put up our Twitter handles on the video as she always does. Give us a follow. You can catch me and Jackson on Twitter. You know, having our fun with the stock market and March Madness and all that good stuff, all that good jazz. Also, don't forget to go on to Symbol and you go get yourself a nice $10 bonus for signing up using our promo code. And with the MLB season about to start in basketball midway through. Might could be some good buys and sells on the market right now.
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple articles about those, so you go on right on Vendetta Sports, you'll see them. Yeah, I got some picks I got coming up, so we will definitely get to that. But in the meantime, everybody enjoy March Madness, enjoy the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, and we will catch you as always next week. And stop. Okay.
Sweet.
Cloud recording.